BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
What's going on? What's going on, people? It is your guy, Travel Matic, and we are back with another Matic Mondays. Thank you for coming back. If you are returning, if you are new, definitely hit the like and subscribe button. We talk about all things digital nomad, remote working, transferring your skills, travel, all things under the sun, remote working. So right here, I cannot forget my wonderful co-host, Tiffany Sports and Hills. What's going on?
What's going on? Happy holidays.
Yes. Happy holidays. It is a brisk, cold Monday in Atlanta. I know it's even colder where you're at.
Yeah,
we
it is very cold.
Yes, we're at the year-end show here. The end is here. We have been thankful to see another year come to an end. And first, we have Mocha Bella in the building. I need to get me some sound effects from next year so we can applaud her. She is been a great addition to the team, supporting us with promoting and getting people aware of we're coming on. So I appreciate you, Mocha.
Yeah, shout out to Mocha. Always supporting us. Always. From the very beginning, since day one.
Yes, from the MIA. But yeah, we actually have some guests coming on sometime soon. We have my guy Obi. Met him in Brazil this past month, so that was cool. He wanted to come and talk about, he's actually in project management. I think he was in the UK, and he actually got moved to from his company, relocated to Brazil, and I think he had been there about 6 months maybe. And I think he's a product manager, kind of like what we talk about quite often with with people wanting to be product managers. And that actually is a great segue to a person who I'm going to bring up by the name of Erica. I met her online, not in the way y'all thought, but we talked about career stuff. So, and she's an aspiring person who wants to, transition into IT. So let me bring her on. We have Miss Erica. What's going on?
Hi, Erica.
Can you hear me? Okay, maybe her sound is you may have to I usually turn my phone off when I'm on live. She probably, so I can be able to communicate to her. If you can hear us, log out and then log back in. That's probably going to help you with your connection. But yeah, so I've been kind of partnering with her and trying to help her with transitioning, as I mentioned to you, Tiff. Actually, I gave her your information.
Okay.
Hold on, man. Let me kick it. Okay.
Okay, we're gonna try again.
Right. You can't hear me?
We can't hear you, Erica.
Oh man. Can you hear us?
Well, while we're waiting for her to get her, waiting for Adrian and Erica to work out the sound, I want to give a few shout outs for people who've joined in the chat. Shout out to Chief Rocka, Jersey Vern, one of our podcasting brothers. It has stopped through. And Tiffany Poole in Portland, my good friend P&P on the West Coast, who took really good care of me when I visited the Portland, Oregon area this past summer. Big shout out to her. And P&P is always showing support as well. Thank you for the super sticker, $5. We appreciate it. Thank you, ma'am. Also want to give a shout out to Big Tay. Tay International has joined us this evening. Thank you for joining. We do offer live chat on YouTube, so if you have any questions regarding any of our content that we've had this year, any questions about remote working, remote jobs, transitioning, today's your day, to kind of, join us, discuss our recap of the year.
Yes, and we're going to go back through just some topics and stuff that we talked about. That's kind of like tying these guests in here. You said, okay. Well, she was chatting with, so hopefully she can work that out. I'm glad she was able to chat to us on the side chat. But yeah, a lot of cool things went on this year in the remote workspace. I know a lot of my friends have come to me about the roles, and they like the show. Been trying to let's see if she gets back on.
Now I can hear.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, sorry, I was having some technical difficulties, but it's now resolved.
All right.
Well, welcome, Erica.
All right.
Hello,
glad you had that worked out.
Adrian.
I've heard lots about you, so
I've heard lots about you as well. Thank you.
Excited to have you on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, absolutely.
The devil was busy, so it wouldn't work on my laptop. I got it to work on my phone, so that's why it's kind of, But I'm gonna look into that after everything and see if I can make sure, if you guys have me on again, that I can do it from my laptop.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're on your phone, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. But yeah, I was telling the chat and everybody that I met you online through this crazy situation of talking about transferring your skills. Like me and my co-host here, we always talk about how Instagram and TikTok are kind of misleading people, and it's our job to kind of buffer the myths and the misconceived messages that Instagram gives to people.
Yeah.
And so that brought me to you. We spoke many times, working with you with the resume and certain direction you need to go in. So
yeah,
and this is here for you to, ask questions. We're going to kind of just talk about remote work and all that under the sun. But, like I said, jump in when you can. Mm-hmm. I have another guy named Obi coming on, hopefully. And he's out of Brazil. So hopefully he comes on.
Well, I have some questions if I can start.
Go ahead.
Yeah, if Erica, you just want to tell me a little bit about your background. I know you've told Adrian, and he's kind of filled me in a little bit, but our audience hasn't really heard. And tell us what your background is and what's got you interested in joining the tech space. Can you hear us?
Uh-oh. Erica, did you hear her?
Oh, doesn't sound like she can hear us. Lost the audio again. Okay, well, while we're waiting for her to get her audio together, let's talk about some of our previous shows.
Yeah, she lost again. I can just probably show. Which I didn't have that up and ready. Your channel, and I have it where you can actually go to a playlist to look at all of the shows under remote working. And we are live. Did not want to show it that way, but
that's cool.
Just wanted to show the thumbnails. Okay, here we go. I think this one was that one of our first ones.
It's one of our first ones.
It's not that easy to get an IT job, which I was just mentioning that. It's not that easy. As I was explaining to Erica, like most of these people, if you look at some of these comments,
mm-hmm.
A lot of people just, they say you need to have this. I've been applying like 15, 20 different companies and I don't get, and I'm like, I'm not going to get a program manager job with a criminal justice. You're not going to get a program manager job with a criminal justice degree. Can you? Possibly, yes.
Possibly, yeah.
If you redo some things, but not just off of a post that somebody said, hey, just work your resume a little bit. Don't give you any kind of direction after that. And, so it's a lot. It's many levels to this.
Yeah, and I think you being a YouTube travel content creator, the way this, Matic Mondays kind of, these topics kind of come, including, this one is kind of just our own individual experiences in the tech space, in the remote working space, pre-COVID. And then having these one-off conversations about things that we saw online and, turning them into show topics. So I think I want people to know how Matic Monday kind of started. A lot of it was because we would call each other out of frustration, kind of seeing all of these, these new influencers offering different, bits of advice on how to get these jobs and really not being transparent, particularly to brown and Black people, kind of selling a false dreams and false fantasies and not really giving the reality of, how difficult it is to navigate your career in the tech space. There's a reason why there are these national and federal campaigns for Black in STEM and Black in tech and these conferences, Black in tech conferences, because it really is a difficult career path to navigate. So us having that mutual frustration for visibility and transparency, that's kind of how Manic Mondays began in 2020, 2020, late 2021, 2022.
Right. They definitely gave us enough content to talk about.
Yeah. Every day.
Yeah,
Did you see this? Did you see this? Look at this. Look at this comment.
but and it was between TikTok and this one page on Instagram. Definitely, that's how I found Erica. Because she was one of the ones like scratching her head, like, I just don't. I've tried, like, man. And then and actually, and I think I had told you too that they try to get you to get to their newsletter, and that's all a part of like the marketing,
selling, the selling,
email marketing, the email marketing and selling, and that page would when you get the newsletter would have where you can subscribe to like I'm going blank a class for about, and I think she said $3,000 or $4,000. I hope we can get Erica back on there. Erica.
Yeah, so I finally got it to work on my laptop, and I think it's going to be fine because I was having major issues. The audio kept going out like mid conversation, so I was like, let me see if I can try to fix it. And I did. Hopefully everything runs smoothly now. So
great.
But I'm here, present.
Okay, I got a quick question because you kind of jumped in the middle of a statement I was trying to give about something we talked about in that newsletter of said person that would help you, or supposedly helping you to get to a program manager. How much was the class again that the guy was selling to kind of
the class was,
to get a program manager job?
It was like $6,500.
What?
Yeah, and it was so funny because I was like, I thought it was crazy, so I went on Reddit just to hear people's opinion. Not that I was thinking about doing it, because absolutely not. And everybody was like, "This guy's a scam. Don't waste your money. Like everything that he teaches, you can find online." So, and you don't walk away. It's not like a guarantee that you get a job. He's just giving you the tools, and you're paying $6,500 for it.
Wow.
And she said that she did it. So I don't know if they have some kind of partnership or something, because she has it right on the listing, and I can send it to you if you. Well, I don't know if you want to give her that free promo, but
no.
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't brought her name up. Yeah.
Yeah. So
cool.
Well,
yeah, I thought you said $6,000, but I said when I try to recall, I said ain't no way she said $6,000. She had to say, I know it was a couple of thousand, but that's crazy.
That's unbelievable. Yeah, that's completely unbelievable that someone would charge for that. Guys, before you pay money, switching into tech or switching in any career is going to require you to do your own research. Even if it's just going to YouTube and Googling, what do you need to be a program manager? What do you need to be a project manager? What do you need to be whatever role you're looking or considering? Go through job descriptions on LinkedIn, on Indeed, and kind of figure out how you fit within that space of that you're considering. One thing I do like about social media is that people are very people do give that there's more than one way to be a program manager. There's more than one way to be a project manager. And it's not all cookie cutter, right? And so I do appreciate that aspect about social media. It's social media, guys. It's not a textbook, it's not a blueprint for how you do something. So you have to kind of take it with a grain of salt, because you're dealing with a social platform and it's going to have elements, of sensationalism in it. And you've got to dig through that and kind of figure out what will work best for you. And this is why I always, you're going to hear me say this. I've been beating this word up for all of 2022, and that is transferable skills that you already have or can easily obtain that will help you perform those job functions. If you're managing processes, then you can manage something. If you're managing people, you can manage a team. It's just about what you already have and what you can take to enhance those skills that you already have so that you can build a resume that's going to be competitive in the market that you're looking to be in. So taking courses, talk to people, come to shows like this, come to podcasts, find out what certifications. Those are you're looking for words like certifications rather than courses, because courses are valuable, but once you start doing the research for certifications, you'll start finding courses that will help and enhance you, and most of them are free. And start looking on free platforms or platforms that have nominal fees for information. But when it comes to paying someone who says they're an expert or an influencer, I would definitely, you did the right thing, Erica, by going onto Reddit and at least getting some feedback from people who were able to kind of say, there's other ways in which you can do it. So
yeah, I'm always very skeptical when it comes to people promising things. And it's like, for her, and I spoke to Adrienne about this, she makes it sound like it's so easy. And that's just a red flag to me, because it's not. Especially if you actively are trying, like I am, trying to break into that role or within tech. It's not like, oh, you just change some wording on your resume. You have to also be able to interview. There's just different aspects to it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And a lot of people I think get hung up on, again, that sensationalism, how easy it is, that they don't understand or they don't equate the amount of work it actually takes to do the job and to even get past the interview.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to even get past the recruiter.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting, not just identifying what is actually needed for the role, because I'm telling you, we and Adrienne both have had conversations about roles that we've been proposed for or contacted about, and it's not at all the role that they actually need. And you have to be able to understand kind of the other roles around the roles that you're interested in, so you can really understand what the job function is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I completely understand. And I don't know. It's kind of sad because you have so many people, like you read the comments, and some people are so desperate, and they're just like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to pay for her subscription or whatever she's, selling, and I'm going to get this job. And it's just like, selling a dream.
Well, part of that is people like myself and Adrienne who are actually traveling the world and able to work remote at the same time, that make you want to do that, right? It makes you want to jump into these fields where you have that kind of flexibility in your lifestyle. And especially on social media, that has really exploded in 2022.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
With, we had, Adrienne was in, Puerto Rico, and I went to London. And so everybody's kind of like moving and shaking and having these amazing experiences. And so it's making people want to find the shortcuts to get to that, right? And that's why we're kind of, Adrienne and I put these sets of shows together to, one, create realistic ideas of what kind of roles are attainable. We've done everything from customer service all the way up to program manager as far as jobs. We've had people who've worked in tech and people who've worked in real estate as guests. We've had people who work in, doing HR or social media. We've had dancers who make a lifestyle dancing in foreign countries. Nice. We've had rappers. So it's all about finding what it is that's your area that you're able to make an income so that you're able to live remotely and travel.
Yeah, and I was, doing a little bit of that with my last job, and it was really nice, but it was very limited because of, you only get so many PTO hours, and then that also you can't really work out of the country. At least that was, their thing. So you can go to like Puerto Rico or if you went to like the Virgin Islands, yeah, because obviously it's within a territory of US, but anywhere else it was like a no. So you'd have to take off to be able to enjoy your time there.
Yeah, and I faced a lot of that too, Erica, this year. My employer doesn't allow international. So I did a lot more domestic this year than I did international. But that's okay, because domestic wise, I was able to work 100% remote and still be able to participate in all the domestic travel I can. So being able to travel to Puerto Rico and still work is a blessing.
Yeah, it was fun. I went for I don't know if you guys heard of it, but they had a Afro festival there, and I went. It was back in March. A lot of like the Afrobeat artists were there. It was really fun time. But I had to work like the first 2 days, so it was a little time consuming, but I did it. And I want to be able to do more of that, being able to just be like, okay, I'm going to go to this place. And obviously, I'm a person who believes in like doing the work, getting my work done, but I also want to be able to have fun. And I feel like remote life kind of gives you a piece of that you can have that balance. And having to go to an office and sit for 8 hours out of the day, and then basically your whole day is gone. I mean, the most thing you want to do is go home, eat something, go to sleep.
Yeah, and the world has really embraced, despite what the naysayer says, the world has really embraced remote working and digital nomad lifestyle. Adrian and I have done a couple of visa shows. We did a whole visa show, I think, last month. We've spotlighted a couple of countries where you can work remotely as a digital nomad, and did a deep dive, kind of what's needed to be able to qualify. We've even talked to some, and looked at programs that pay you to relocate, to still work remotely, but relocate to all these places all over the world where you can work remote and still live, where you want. So it definitely offers a flexibility and lifestyle, but it comes with its challenges, right? I think, trying to figure out how you're going to work 8 hours when you want to do an excursion that starts at 2, or if you're working in different time zones. We talked about connectivity issues in several different countries. Myself and Adrian have both worked different time zones versus the company that we worked for in a different time zone. So it can be challenging, but it's definitely rewarding to have that kind of work-life balance in your life.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's great, like a remote life. But obviously, it's not for everybody, because I feel like when it comes to working from home,
you have more money than we have, Fantasia.
Out of the office, you have to be able to push yourself, because there's nobody there. I mean, you may get an email, you may get a follow-up from your boss or whatever, but you have to be self-motivated to get your work done. Because I've seen it where people, get these remote jobs and they just don't do anything, and they think that that's going to work, and then, end up losing their jobs or something happen. And it's like, you have to be self-motivated. You have to get the job done.
The discipline is the most important part, but that's why Adrian and I try to be very transparent about our own experiences. We'll bring up our own experiences, whether it's finding a co-working place or using apps like I use what is that app? I use several different apps, but there's one that's like a resort pass. So if you can't find a co-working place, I've used Resort Pass and Day Use. They're two apps that you can rent a hotel room or use the facilities at a hotel or a resort, internationally and domestically.
Oh, wow.
For the day. And it's usually around $40 to $50 is the cost per day. But if you're out of the country and you're working remotely, and you get total access for the entire day to a resort where you can work and you use the sauna and use the pool and the beach, definitely worth it.
Yeah.
Adrian has done spotlights on co-working places. So, it's important that we bring our own transparency, especially as people of color, that we're able to talk about our experiences working remotely. Yeah.
And that's like another thing that.
Go ahead.
Just when it comes to like, people of color or Black people in general, just hearing more of their experiences in the tech world. Because I know that there has been a push when it comes to like other minorities that are heavily, I guess when you look at the percentages, there's a lot of other minorities, and I'm not talking about Black people when it comes to tech, but I'm talking about Black people specifically. I feel like there has been more of a push for us to be present in those spaces.
Yeah.
And I definitely would love to just hear more stories related to just how Black people are feeling right now in the tech game, and connecting more with people who look like me, who are experiencing these things. I think that's important on this journey for me as well.
Yeah, and try to align yourself with people who are offering you advice without charging you money. I am not trying to knock anybody's hustle. I'm not a hater. I'm not knocking anybody's hustle. But I think one of the things that we were frustrated about is we only had one or two people that we could kind of help us navigate our career. And a lot of people weren't, either they were gatekeeping, not giving information, or just didn't think to offer information. And shout out to all the YouTubers and the social media on TikTokers who are already giving out great information about remote working. I'm not taking anything away from you guys, but I think when you go through the comments of some of these bigger influencers and look at the post, there's a lot of people reaching out saying, I need help, but no one really going back and saying, let me help you, or I know how I can help you, or offering bits of advice that's more tangible to them than a $6,000 class, if you catch my drift.
Yeah, well, some people sell their programs. They'll use that as an opportunity, like click the link in my bio and sign up for my, course or whatnot. And
yeah, and I'm not saying I'm not knocking the hustle. They all got to hustle, but everybody ain't hustling.
that part.
Everybody's not hustling, so
that's so true.
Or everybody's hustle looks different. So
I don't know. I just feel like
Right.
A lot of the stuff, everybody currently, the generation is looking for something really quick. I feel like everything's quick, and that's just not reality. At least not for me. I feel like there's just things that you have to work towards. That's just how it is. And anything that you really try to quick, it usually doesn't last, or it's just set up for disappointment.
Oh yeah, it's unrealistic, and we try to bring. Sometimes I feel like I realize that I say this all the time. I realize that we're in a place of privilege, where we are in our careers. But I'm 47 years old. I'm not 23 years old. I've been doing this, and made a lot of mistakes on the way, right? And so my goal when Adrian asked if I wanted to be a co-host was always to keep it 100 with you guys, to keep it real and tell it like it is, especially from a female point of view, a woman's point of view, not a female point of view, from a woman's point of view, because I've had to bump my head a whole lot in my early days. I'm finally at a place where I'm comfortable to move about in the tech space into different areas, but it took a lot for me to get to where I am, and I want to help other people kind of avoid some of the pitfalls that I had to unfortunately ravage through in order to get to this stage of my career.
When it comes to, she's gonna ask something. I was just gonna ask a question.
No, actually, let me pay some bills right quick. And we come back. You'll finish your thought, Erica, and we'll get to the comments in the chat. So
Coca-Cola is the perfect soft drink for the holidays. Whether you're a young adult or a seasoned vet, eating tacos, soul food, or a traditional holiday meal, Coca-Cola pairs with it all. Picture this: sitting down with your family, friends, eating a delicious meal with a Coca-Cola on the table. There's nothing better. Better yet, watching your favorite football team score a touchdown with a Coca-Cola in your hand. Enjoy the real magic of the season by surrounding yourself with good friends and family, delicious food, and of course, an ice cold Coke. The holidays always find a way. Coca-Cola.
All right. Appreciate to the sponsors of Coca-Cola supporting some Black content.
Yeah, thank you.
And my guy BS3, which this show actually is recorded and put on BS3 network on the Roku network. So there was a lot of people chatting while y'all ladies was telling it all, and I wanted to get to a question. I think Mocha had a question. I think it maybe was aimed towards me. Where we at? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. She said, Adrian, what is your favorite country you have traveled to? This year, definitely Brazil. Just left from there. This is my second time, but it was very, very, oh wow, nostalgic. Very, because I went to an event similar to what you went to in Puerto Rico. It's called Afro Punk Bahia. It originally started in Brooklyn, New York, and they branched out to other cities and other countries. And so they went to Salvador Bahia, Brazil. And it's a 2-day event. And it was very nostalgic because of people that look just like me but don't speak any English. Everybody spoke Portuguese. And the fact that, you see people that look like you come from that Africa diaspora, I've always admired people. I try to push my channel that way to kind of travel to certain countries that have that Africa diaspora footprint. And if you want to go to a Black cultured city, Salvador Bahia is it. Rio is Brazil all together, because there were more people of African descent in slavery came to Brazil than 10 times more than it was to the States. So that kind of shows you like how big the imprint is. And they're not so washed with their religion and their the African ways, and they have you see a lot of African influence in the food and the dance and the songs. So yeah, that by far was the best of this year, especially. But of all time is Cuba for me. I'm a Cuba. That's like my home away from home. So Cuba by far is my favorite of all time. But how about you, Tiff?
So I've only been to 2 countries this year, out the country. So my favorite has to be London this year, only because it completely shocked me. I had really low expectations, and I had a ball. I had a great time. Lots to see, lots to do. Probably saw the best art exhibit of my life, and it wasn't art, it was fashion, and it was African fashion through the years, and it was an incredible exhibit. So that's my favorite this year. And my favorite of all time is also Cuba. Cuba was my first ever solo trip, international, and it was phenomenal. I had a phenomenal time. I did a little bit more luxury combined with staying with a family in Cuba. I did horseback riding. I ate good. I met a lot of Afro-Cubans. Bought an art piece. Just absolutely fell in love with the Cuban culture and the people there. And very humbling experience being there. And Cuba will always hold a special place in my heart.
Definitely. How about you, Miss Erica?
Um, it's kind of a toss up between. So I went to Belize in February, and I went to El Salvador in October, and I'm trying to. I guess I love them both for different reasons. Um, I guess it's more just to do with I'm big on when I go to like different countries. I like to go to like local places, interact with the locals and the natives there. I don't really like the touristy places, and I don't know. I just had such a great experience with the locals there. They were just so welcoming and kind, and entertaining, and I just enjoyed myself. But I guess I just have to give it to El Salvador because beautiful mountains upon mountains, so much green everywhere. Locals were amazing. Food was great. It was just, I would go, if I could buy a ticket right now, I would go again and stay even longer. We stayed for like 5 days, but I was like, this is a place you can stay for a month and
Or
like never.
Belize or El Salvador?
El Salvador.
Belize or El Salvador?
El Salvador.
Um, I want to say El Salvador. It's funny. Some, you know who went to El Salvador, Tiffany? What's her name? And she didn't have the best experience because of this friend of ours is vegetarian. So anyway, she go that doesn't really like work along with vegetarians, like or have that type of environment where it's a lot of vegetarian options. She kind of
it's very meat heavy.
So,
Yeah.
yes. Very meat,
one of our
very
mutuals
heavy, bread cheap.
didn't like it at all.
Well,
She did not like, but she liked Guatemala.
Friendly and vegetarian friendly, so.
Okay, a quick question though. Because you look like myself, you're my hue. How was your experience with the people there? Because there's nobody that look like you there.
I can't comment. So it was like stairs everywhere. I literally have a video, and in the video, everybody's just like looking at us. Every single place that we went to, people were staring. It was like,
yeah,
wanted to take
that was another thing
them.
she had a problem with too. And I told her,
there's so many
I
places.
told her it's not because it's not like they like looking in back. They in awe. Like I had so many people wanting to take pictures with me.
Yeah, they wanted to
never had that
literally
before, and a lot of
take pictures. Like, I don't want to say it. Like, it becomes a little bit too much. So I'd be like, oh, these are what these celebrities be going through. Like leave me alone. But I never really felt disrespected. More of just like, oh my gosh, like they want to know more, kind of. But it was a lot of staring.
Right.
And now, I'm not just talking about like quick, like following you as you walk by, eyes big. It's just like, oh my gosh. It's a lot. So that one thing I said, I feel it was definitely more in El Salvador than Belize. By far. Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where is one place you're going to make it a point to go to in 2023?
Me personally, I have to, like, I have not been in any part of Europe yet. That is my goal. I really want to go to London. Like, you were speaking about London, I was just like, oh my gosh, yes. I really, want to go to London for sure. If it's not one other place on my list, I need to get to London because I really wanted to go this year. Did not work out, but next year has to happen.
Okay. My location is Colombia. I'm making plans right now.
Okay.
Right now to go to Colombia.
That's right.
I don't care how much my flight is. I'm going to Colombia this year,
once
Adrian.
I get,
I'm going to get there.
Once I get that job I'm looking for, I'm going to be booking information as well for my flight to London.
Adrian.
Myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all up in the air. New place. I want to go back to Europe. someplace in Europe. I'm not sure just yet. But ironically, I want to go to a place I've been before. There's two places. One place would be Cuba. I want to go back to Cuba.
I bet you want to go.
I miss home.
I feel like I live in Miami, so I always feel like I get a little taste of it. I've explained that. I've already told you my experience in Miami with Cuban population. However,
yes, Mocha's in Miami. Erica, Mocha, our friend, is in.
Hello, Mocha. She probably has stories too. She might have stories too. So, but I definitely would love to go see the country one day.
Let me tell you that the Cubans in Miami are not like the Cubans in Cuba.
That's what I hear all the time.
They're not. They look like us.
No. But the thing is, it's not only the white Cubans that we, have issues with. It's the ones that look like us, which is shocking. It's like, we have the same hair type, same skin. Like, what is the problem? But they don't consider themselves black, so it's like, I'm not going to tell anybody nothing that they don't want to be called. I'm going to respect someone, but it's really crazy. We get it from both sides.
It's not like the Cubans in Cuba are. They're just really great people. They're really sweet. They just want to tell you everything about Cuba, everything about them, everything about. I mean, they very much embrace the Afro in the Afro-Cuban.
I would love to see some of that.
From the food to the way they dance to the way they talk, to the places they hang out, it's just different, and they're very welcoming.
I will tell you something, it's one of my favorites. So I would love to. I mean, I feel like you can get probably the closest to authentic here because there's such a huge population. But I would love to actually eat Cuban food in Cuba. That's a different kind of flex.
Right. I had a question for Tiffany. And it's part of the title of the show, Remote Working, and will it end in 2023? Will it end, Tiffany? What do you think?
I don't think remote working will end in 2023, but I do see that there's going to be a significant push from larger corporations to bring people back into office real estate. And I think the remote working will continue for those who are at the senior level. So that's what I mean. So previously everybody was kind of able to work remote. I think they're going to make it more exclusive to those who are at the senior level versus those who are in more supporting roles, if you know what I mean. I think the hybrid model will take the lead versus the remote model. Companies that still embrace remote, 100% remote, will be extremely competitive. Countries that do not have a remote lifestyle will have a very difficult time with turnover. And companies that have hybrid working environments where you're only on site 1 or 2 days a week will be the ones who will begin to thrive. That's speaking to the US only, though. I think the rest of the world will embrace remote working. And so you're going to have these dynamics where a company like, say, Apple, who has offices globally, will have a hard time getting those who work outside the US to come back to the office versus those who live in the US, who they'll probably have more of the hybrid model. But I think those who are trying to retain the top talent that's available on the market will keep that remote, 100% remote for select employees. But the majority of the workforce is going back in the office. That's my prediction.
Right. I asked that question because of Salesforce CEO Mark Benioff um, in a internal Slack company chat message said that the newer employees that they hired over the pandemic are facing lower productivity. And as I was reading the article, I said, I know somehow, someway this is going to go to remote work. And that's what it did. So, like I said, this was an internal message and it leaked to like Twitter and TikTok and kind of got people talking about that. And he actually got upset that it got out because he was just more of a, I'm just putting it out there. But, people, we sensitive about our remote work because I think it's kind of scrutinized a little bit, and they don't want remote work as an option, so they're going to try and put certain things against that. Like, oh, I don't like y'all ain't producing right,
Yeah.
And I'm like,
everywhere.
would you even say that if you were in the office?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I had this guy. Actually, I had a TikTok. Can you believe it? Can you believe out of all people, me, who's rarely on TikTok? Stop sharing and share. Let me show you just a minute here, y'all.
Erica, I'm always on TikTok. That's my new source of information.
Is it?
It's my launch point.
All the time. I'm on it too much sometimes. I'm like, I can't. I have to like just exit and take breaks because it gets really addicting. It's just like because you can go from looking at one topic to another with just a swipe up. So it's really crazy experience.
Yeah.
All right, here you go.
Nope. Don't recommend working there. Apparently, the Salesforce co-CEO Mark Benioff calls out new hires. In fact, according to this LinkedIn article, Mark Benioff wants new hires to ramp up their output. And in a Slack message that was sent to workers, he wrote that newbies to the company have been less productive and openly questioned if remote work was to blame. Look, I understand that this whole work from home stuff doesn't always appeal to some people. But when you hire people and then you immediately call them out as being not productive, that's not a good sign that you're a good leader. Just saying. Why don't you, instead of calling out new hires, encourage them to work a little bit differently, give them ways to improve instead of just being an asshole. There you go. I said it. Mark Benioff, you're an asshole.
Yeah, and what's interesting about that is what is the output expectation? Like, what has who has determined that they're not, meeting expectations when it comes to productivity? Is it a direct manager? Because you'll be surprised. A lot of these companies, like large corporations like Salesforce, they fail when it comes to onboarding.
That's what
they absolutely fail, and they have unrealistic expectations when it comes to onboarding and what output looks like, which is why, Erica, one of my first questions I ask people in the interview process, first of all, I come with a list of questions. You're not just going to question me, I'm going to question you. And one of my first questions that I ask them is, give me an idea of expectations on output on productivity as a successful candidate in the first 2 weeks, the first 30 days, the first 60 days, in the first 90 days. That way, and then I follow that up with, what does your onboarding looks like to help that candidate be successful according to your expectations within those 2 weeks, 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days? Because that tells me if you have a plan for onboarding and you have these metrics that you're going to then rate my productivity against, then I can meet those expectations or exceed them based upon your plan, right? But if you're telling me that your onboarding doesn't have any plan, but you then have these unrealistic expectations on productivity and output, that tells me more about your company and whether or not I want to work for you rather than me. Because a lot of times your productivity is not because you're working from home. It's because on day 1, I haven't received a laptop. On day 5, I'm still holding on requests for access. On day 14, I've only been given access to some things, and I'm only had contact with 2 or 3 people who I should be contacting or working with on a day-to-day basis within 14 days. So that's already going to put a dent in your expectations of me in the first 2 weeks, in the first 30 days.
Exactly.
And understanding what your metrics are, if they can't give me any metrics, then how are you measuring me is my third question. I always ask them. I don't let them off the hook, because interviewing is more about you also finding the right fit versus them also finding the right fit. And I want our Black and brown people and our women especially to hear me when I say it is important that you understand what your capabilities are and that you know the ins and outs of not just your role, but the supporting roles around you, because they will throw in things on you in the interview process that really have nothing to do with your role just because of who they saw come on the camera. Adrian, am I right? They will throw questions at you based upon who came on the camera that have nothing to do with the actual role that you're interviewing for. So it's important that you have these questions ready to go, because it lets them know that you're paying attention to whether or not you want to be there as well. Like, it's not just a one-way street.
No, that's right.
Right. And I actually have used that same question. I've taken that one from, I've borrowed it, let's say. Because regardless if it's remote or on site, sometimes there's a break in communication of what you expect out of me and what I expect out of the job, you know. And I've had that on a few of these contracts, where it's just a break in communication. Oh, I thought I was doing this, you know, and no, we had this expectation that you were going to be doing this, and I know I thought I was doing this. This is what the job or the role calls for, but you know, they got me doing something above and beyond what I'm here to do, really. You know, what my role requires. So it's a great question that you use there.
Yeah, and then you got a CEO in Slack telling everyone that your productivity is not meeting expectations, but did they communicate those expectations? Did they what metrics are they using to measure? Who's reporting those metrics? How often am I doing one-on-ones with my direct manager and getting that kind of feedback? Am I able to say to them that I'm lacking learning, or I'm, you know, people were out and I wasn't able to get to this, you know, what roadblocks I'm facing. So I think it's important that people kind of understand that, you know, someone who's wanting to change the workforce is always going to be looking for reasons. And especially when it comes to us, it's important that we understand how remote working is already going to be under attack. So it's always best that we, you know, prepare ourselves with getting as much information about the company and how they do things, so that when those messages come out in Slack, you know, they ain't talking about you. They ain't talking about me.
But you know what's funny though is that out of the stock market over the pandemic, the market that did the best over that whole pandemic stretch was tech companies. Your Salesforce, your Apples, you know, they carried the stock market pretty much. And was it because of low productivity? No, it's because people was happy where they were at and doing the things they needed to do, working remotely. Now, if it's a little dip in the little production, it's a little dip. Hold up, man. We not getting the right production that we, you know. So it's all the nitpicking that they want to do around remote work.
Basically, they just want to find a reason.
Go ahead, Erica.
I say basically they just want to find a reason. I mean, because at the end of the day, like Tiffany was mentioning, you need to be looking deeper. That they have the resources they needed to succeed. How is the training process? Maybe that needs to be revamped. Like it's just quick to blame the new hires. You know, it just feels like you said nitpicking.
Yeah, and one other question I always ask is about staffing. You know, because if you're expecting me to do 3 different roles because you're short-staffed, then obviously my productivity is not going to meet your expectations because I'm only able to do the role of one person. So I always ask questions about, from a capacity standpoint, are you guys still needing people? Are you full capacity? Is this role going to be 100% supported? Or is there, are you going to need additional team members? Like, where are you on that? How stable is the team? How much turnover have you had on the team? Because all of that impacts your productivity.
It truly does. There's nothing like working with someone and it being understaffed.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Well, we are at that time. Eric, I am to tell you, we only do it for an hour. We're gonna try to be respectful of people's times and not drag it out a little bit. And usually it's like Monday Night Football too. That
part
happens.
I'm watching my sports, so
I know I'm looking for it right now.
Just a little chat we have. But yes, we were glad to have you on with us.
Absolutely.
You and I will actually be in talks in a few days from now.
Yes.
Yes, thank you for coming on. I'm got to check on my guy Obi why he didn't come on. We got to bring him on for the new year. But this is our last show, and we got a lot. I'm sorry, go ahead, Erica.
I just wanted to say thank you.
I'm sorry,
guys, for having me. And if any time in the future you'd like to have me on again, I am more than happy to be present. It was a great discussion and very informative, which is always something I feel is something I need in my life. If I'm not learning something, I'm not gaining knowledge, what's the point?
Yeah, we really appreciate you coming on, Erica, and please let me know. I know that you're working with Adrian, so I can assure that in 2023 we're going to have you back on because you're going to be a success story, right? You're going to talk about your role. We're going to already put it out there. We're going to already claim it.
Amen.
And you're going to come back and talk about what you did, what steps you took to get your role, and your first remote trip that you're going to take working remote with in your new field. So
yes,
anything I could do to help you along the way, Adrian has my contact information. Reach out at any time. I got you. Whatever you need.
Thank you. Like I receive all of it. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm ready to share story. Pass whatever knowledge I can to the next, Black person or a person of color who needs guidance. So
yes. We're definitely gonna have you back on to kind of do a recap and see where you're at. But a lot of great things to come in the new year with Matic Mondays. You're gonna get deeper into working remotely, a little bit more digital nomad thing, virtual assistants, TEFL. I got some TEFL people I want to bring on. All kind of stuff. Email management, social media management. It's a lot of things you can do where you're more on that digital nomad side, where you're kind of an entrepreneur, a freelancer. So a lot of great things, man. We got to hold the line, man. You can't go back in the office. No. We got too many countries we need to see,
Okay.
Yes, that's outdated. Well, hope everyone have a happy holiday with your loved ones and family. And with that, we are gone. Thank y'all.
See y'all next year.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
All right. Happy holidays. Take care. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Peace.